Okay, so this is where we're at. We've just set up the light, so now we can actually start putting some materials on the character, some colours, some textures, do some render tests, and get it looking gorgeous. Right, okay, so I'm just going to save this. So this is where we're at with this kind of dull, bluey, greyish kind of render here. I'm just going to switch it off. Right, so the first thing we can do, basically, which I guess would be simple, is just the background itself. And so I just want to make sure, yeah, 3, it's all like high res mode. Yep, alright, okay, so with the background, click on this little blue circle here. And so we're going to be using the Arnold shaders, not the Maya ones. So we're in Arnold, click on shader, and what we want is the AI standard surface. Click on it. There we go. And that's what it looks like there. And so we can call it background AI, and then just middle mouse drag it onto the background. There you go. Let's click off it because we can get to the options here. And so let's activate this window so we know that Arnold will render this view here and not this view there. And so let's take a look now. We've changed the background, and as you can see, it looks a bit brighter. We've got some reflections here and stuff like that. Alright, so first off, by default the weight is 0.8, so it's only showing like 8% of the colour. I like to put it all the way up to 1 or 100%, so obviously it makes it a bit brighter. And this is where you change the colour. Now, I don't like to play around with the colour directly. What I like to do is plug in the ambient occlusion node. Now, ambient occlusion, basically, I'll show you what it means. It basically means it shows you some contact shadow. So if we switch off the wireframe, now, here, switch it off. Now, as you can see, we've got this ambient occlusion switched on. That's off, that's on. Now, with it on, you can see some of the shadow in. Can you see it? And switch it off, on. And you can see some shadow in there. Also here, the shadow created by the tentacle here, off, on. And so we can see it in the viewport, but we also want to see it in the render. And so if you take a look here, we don't have any just yet. So I'm going to like save that. And so what we can do is open the hypershade again. And in the Arnold shader we have the ambient occlusion node. Click on it, and this is the ambient occlusion, so AO for the background. And we want to plug it into the color channel of the background AI. So middle mouse, drag it into the color channel. Boom. And so we click on it here, and now the ambient occlusion is in control of the color, and so we can just play around with different colors. So basically, let's take a look at it now. So by default, it's white and black, and so let's just wait for it to finish rendering, and let's see if we can see any difference. So this is with the ambient occlusion on, off, on, off. Now if you take a look here, the tentacles where it touches the ground, you can see the ambient occlusion much better. Off, on, off, on. There you go. And so instead of white, you can actually play around with it, like for example red, if you want it to be red. So it's entirely up to you. What I tend to do is put it back to white, and I just darken it a little bit. Or what you can do is, just change the colour. And you don't have to have it jet black, but I just keep it on black for now. Anyway, so that's off and that's on. And you can make it as dark as you want. That's like really dark, as you can see. And for now we'll just leave it like that, and I'm going to hit load attributes. And so the next thing is the specular, and as you can see, it's rather shiny. You can see the reflection. I don't like too much specularity unless you're doing like robots and metallic stuff. So with the roughness, I tend to put it pretty high, like 0.8. So like nearly all the reflection's gone, and that's the way I like it. And basically that's it for the background. Nice and simple. We can save that. We don't need some of the older stuff here, so we can just delete it. So right click, delete, right click, delete. So this is where we're at the minute. I'm going to close it, And then, so let's move on to the next thing, and the easiest thing to do really next is these eyelashes. Now I didn't UV map him, and the reason for that is because it's just one plain colour. If you're going to put just one plain colour on an object, you don't really need to UV map it, and so therefore let's just create another shader for it. There we go, and just call it eyelashes AI, and select both eyelashes and right click on the eyelashes AI and then just say assign material to selection. Boom. There we go. And again, we want to create an ambient occlusion node for the color channel. So this is AO eyelashes. So grab the AO eyelashes middle, mouse drag into the color channel. Boom. There we have it. And let's play around with it. Where are we, Arnold? And instead of clicking on this render, you can click on this little blue square, so you can just render a region like that. You see? Here we go. So at the minute it's kind of like a bright white. Let's see what we can do. Again, I don't want any specularity to it. I don't want it to be shiny. So I'm going to put it to 1, so there's actually no shininess to it whatsoever. Weight 1, boom, and I want to make it pretty dark. Almost black. There we go. So that was before, after. Before, after. If I'm going to make it even darker. There we go. So it's not 100% black, but almost. There you go. Alright. So we've done the background and we've done the eyelashes. And yeah. Okay, so we'll end the video here, and I'll see you next video where we will continue with the texturing.